Well, with me now to discuss a whole host of changes, from the prospects for the future of the mansion tax to plans to plough more resources into the north. We're joined here by the property maestro and presenter Kirstie Allsop, and from Manchester, Bez of Happy Mondays. And Bez, in part, we've got you on because he kind of conjured Factory Records, who used to stamp you out in vinyl. What do you make of this great pledge to turn your region into a powerhouse?
Well, first of all, I think Tony will be turning his graves where that the Conservatives have hijacked his idea of using the name factory, because Tony was an old-fashioned socialist and he believed...
That's Tony Wilson you're talking about.
Yeah, Tony Wilson, yeah. And the idea of him stealing Manchester youth culture for pushing a right-wing agenda, I don't think he'll be very pleased about. And what should be mentioned, really, in George Osborne, what if he forgot to mention was the infrastructure bill and the new trespass laws, and also TTIP, where we're handing over our fiscal sovereignty over to American corporations and bankers, where we lose all our power. There will be no power left to fight over, basically.
But it's a bit unusual, isn't it, at least to hear somebody from Westminster saying, right, we're going to put a whole lot into Manchester. We're going to build a great theatre complex. We're going to invest in infrastructure. Yeah, well, we need the services being invested in, so the NHS, the legal aid system, all our services are being taken out, and basically it's a sugar-coated pill just before the election, like all the Conservatives always do, and it's false, empty promises, and they never, ever kept any of the promises what they deliver before election, so I take it all with a pinch of salt, really. But like I say, we need all our major services rescuing. Yeah, not this sugar-coated pill what you're offering us. OK, Bez, but let's pause it there. I'll be back to you. Yeah. But Kirstie Allsop, let's just look at the specific thing of the stamp duty. And particularly, I want to ask you, does it actually effectively blow the mansion tax out of the water?
I think, to a certain extent, it blows the mansion tax out of the water because it's transactional and not confiscational. I think the big issue of the stamp duty thing is the impact it'll have on the 150, the 250, the 350. Your average family who want to move for work, marriage failure, downsizing, upsizing, moving in with their grandmothers, all of that kind of stuff. Is
it enough to enable them to buy?
I think it's... Yes, because you have less deposit you have to save up for. Never forget that stamp duty's iniquity was the fact that you couldn't borrow that money. Came out of already taxed income. You had to save up your deposit plus the stamp duty. And the one thing that we need for the Northern Powerhouse, for the rest of the country, is for people to be able to move house. You do not want a tax on moving. And that's what stamp duty was. And it should have been dealt with ages ago, but I am thrilled it was dealt with today. As far as the top end goes, 12% is very high. The people who are going to be hit by it can afford it.
Even those who grumble that their house cost them $70,000 and it's now worth
Yes, but they don't have to move. That's the joy of this. This is not going to... You know, people like my mother-in-law, who bought her house 40 years ago out of money that was as a result of a bad car crash, she's not going to have to move house and she's not going to be taxed for living in her house.
So you think it will fundamentally shift that lower end of the purchasing market?
I think it's going to make a huge difference, John. Making location over 15 years, I have gone up and down the country and I've seen again and again and again people making bad decisions because they were trying to avoid that higher stamp duty threshold. Now, the slabbing is gone. You can buy a house at 255, 265, 275, and you're not going to be impacted in that way.
And that was the frozen region of housing?
It was a terrible frozen region, and it caused real worry.
Bez, what do you make of a Tory Chancellor who is kind of going for that rich end of the market? I mean, he has slapped 12,000 pounds on the richest. That's your sort of song. Yeah, well,
I don't understand the banking system because basically all I see him is it's a legalised fraud, and the banking system has been getting away with this sort of stuff for so long. and really we need to have it addressed, and we can't allow the banking system to carry on as it is, offering more deals to get people more in debt. And what for is the answer. What we need is more social housing being built and things like that, you know what I mean? We've got a massive homeless problem at the moment. We've had people's houses being, under the present banking system, being taken off them, and we need these problems addressing. And all these sugar-coated promises that don't amount to much to the people at the bottom end of the market.
I get the sense that Mr Osborne may regret having conjured factory records and any reference to Happy Mondays. But thank you very much indeed for joining us there from Salford.
Thank you very much indeed,
Kirstie Allsop here.